Here we go. Episode 17 of Shoot the Mic, brought to you by Rifle Supply. We have Aby John here, Army veteran, owner and operator of Golden State Canine, currently taking over the Orange County area. We're glad you're not in the shitty city of San Francisco anymore. Welcome.
Does it all get lumped into the same, like Frisco and like San Jose and like the whole Bay Area?
So now that I'm officially in Orange County, yeah.
Okay.
It's all the same.
But when you're up there, you're like, no, that's not me. Like
No,
Frisco's
yeah,
not me.
yeah,
I'm San Jose.
I live in
Right?
Fremont.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was, we're definitely not San Francisco.
Where's Fremont?
It's
Like right below San
I don't,
Francisco.
I don't even remember anymore. No, it's like across one of the bridges. There's like a bunch of bridges up there.
Like I don't even
Across
consider
one.
like Los Angelians Southern California. It's just that's North California.
They're
to
their
me.
own. They're their own fucking thing. Lump them
Yeah,
up, lump
they
them
don't
in
even-
up
they don't
there.
even- they don't even count down here.
That's fair. That happens.
Crazy. So what made you, obviously want to come down and make that big move from up north to SoCal? Oopsie.
Oh man. Okay. So not really that crazy a story. You want the long? Actually, do you want the long story? Or you want the short story?
Yeah, we got time.
All right. So I'll give you the long story. All right.
I'm gonna get comfy.
A couple years ago, I was at a competition for PSA. It's a dog sport I compete in with my dog.
You can pull that.
Nice. There we go. So I was at a competition and someone was raffling off a gun, and I decided I was gonna win that gun. So I put in like $200 worth of tickets in there, and I won the gun.
Nice.
And luckily enough, like Justin was the one who sponsored that off, and so I think it was Stacy. Stacy called me a couple weeks later to get all the information and stuff like that.
And then I ended up talking to you.
Yeah. And then I got the handgun. I think it was like a Shield. Sold
Yep.
it like 2 days later.
You made some money. Did you sell it to Ricky?
No, I sold it to JP.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, because he
That's
had
funny.
another one. He wanted to get a matching one for his wife. So I was
Funny.
like, oh, perfect. I have a Shield for you.
That's funny.
And then Justin and I just became friends. I would see him every time I came down for a trial, and yeah, we just went from there.
I was driving my ass up there.
Yeah.
Like I would drive 7 hours one way for 2 days of training, pay for the hotel, and then drive back after 2 days.
That sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So
That's
there's
the
a
best training, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
So
super
last
good.
year, what was it like November,
October.
October, yeah.
Yeah, we're in Utah.
October, I drove down here, picked Justin up. We went to Utah to go compete, and him and Stacy were like, "Oh, you should check out this property." And I said, "No, probably not." And it just happened that my roommate at the time, I introduced him to his girlfriend. He ended up moving all the way to Florida, and
Harry.
yeah, R.I.P. Harry.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Harry.
But
Gross.
yeah, he ended up moving to Florida, and I was like, okay, perfect time to make a move. And then Justin sent me like videos of the backyard with new grass in it, and I was like, holy shit, this looks good. So then,
Were you worried about, like, did you have a lot of business up there that you were worried about, man, if I move down to SoCal, 100% of my business is up here, like I'd be missing out on that? Or
yeah, it's still a little bit of a worry. I still get a lot of business from up there, so they go to like friends that I have up there, a couple trainers, and then some of my clients, they're not gonna leave.
They drive down.
They drive down, or I go pick up their dogs.
Damn.
Like one of the dogs I have right now, his name is Ruger. It's a litter mate to my female, and she can't take him to the vet. So I take him to the vet, make sure he doesn't murder anybody.
Oh, wow.
It's fair. It's a big Dutch
It's
Shepherd.
yeah, he's
Nice.
huge. He's huge and he's scary. And like, outside the vet, me and him are pretty good terms. But when I get there, like she's at the vet, she's like, I can't take him inside, and I go to grab the leash, and he's like muzzled and just muzzle punching me. He's like, I will kill you.
Even with you?
Yeah, even with me.
Whoa.
He just
Crazy.
really does not like the
Crazy.
vet. So I go up there, pick him up, do the vet stuff, and she's like, yeah, just take him with you for a month or two. Train him a little.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Why does he hate the vet so much?
I'm not sure. He was really good as a puppy. He was really social, really friendly with people, but he did have a 2-week stay at the vet where he was sick or something like that. And I think it was just repeated blood draws. And a lot of times the vets they're good at their job, but they're not good at handling dogs or maintaining dogs for a period of time.
So, like,
I would hate it if I was somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put me in a cage with a bunch of fucking whining dogs for sure.
That's like work.
Yeah.
so backtrack real quick. Army veteran. Obviously, you are from India, correct?
Yes, I was born in India.
So,
What part of India? See, that's something I don't know about him. I know a lot about him, but I don't know, like, was it like, it's a big ass country.
It is a
Oh,
big country.
so we have a question. Is it technically Asia?
Yeah, are you Asian?
Yeah, I'm Asian.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Technically,
It's other
I was
Asian,
like,
right?
it's the same continent, but that's a totally different fucking country, man. Is that technically how
Yeah,
they
there's
lump
a lot-
it in
there's-
because the
there's a
continent?
lot of countries in Asia. right?
Yeah, Asia's not a country.
No, I know it's a continent. I understand that, but it sounds weird to lump. Or
See,
whatever.
I don't know shit about that.
So you're Asian and Indian?
No.
Asian Indian.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to get really California about it, you would say Asian Indian or South Asian Indian. I think we gotta get very specific nowadays.
To the
but-
region?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Like I'm
So
African
what part
or
of
South
India
African?
are you from? Is it northern, southern?
I'm from the west coast of India, so it's called the Malabar Coast. So if you go to Costco and you get the giant thing of pepper, they'll say Malabar Coast. That's where I'm from.
So are you from there or were you born there?
I was born there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't classify yourself as from India?
I guess technically.
I mean, technically,
there's-
yes.
yeah.
there's a
Technically,
like,
yes.
There's people in Mexico who, like were born in Mexico but live in lived in California their entire lives. Like yeah, I'm
Yeah, when
fucking-
people ask me, I'll go like I'm an American because I growing up here, right? I was sort of
Well, how old were you when you came over here?
when I was 3.
Oh, yeah.
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 So I was 3, and then I would go back every summer. My family like flew back. We had a ton of family over there, so we fly back pretty often. And then pretty much like once junior high started, I started sports and extracurriculars and stuff like that. So I stopped going, and then I think the last time I went was probably like 7 years ago for like a wedding. And I'm invited every year to all the weddings, but I always say no because there's only like 2 weddings I'll go to, and outside of that, it's a lot of work.
That's a
fair.
long ass flight too.
Yeah, it's like 2 days.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Fuck that.
I mean, I'm sure it's faster now because like
Right.
technology and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I remember growing up, I didn't have a problem because I would just sit in the chair and watch movies. But
Yeah.
now I can't sit in the chair for more than like 5 minutes before I gotta like squirm and move.
I love the airplanes because it makes me do nothing. I can literally, like, when we went to Spain, I was like, I don't really love flying. Like, I don't hate it as much as you,
I don't like.
but like, I don't mind it because I'm like, cool, my phone doesn't fucking work. I don't have to do anything. I literally can't do anything but watch these movies on this fucking screen, and so it's almost like relaxing to me.
The only
Like,
problem I have is they're the arms
Well,
for the seats are
you're
too
large.
thin.
You're large.
And then my knees are always up against the back of the seat in front of me. So I'm just sitting there just like a packed hot dog and I'm like, I just want to get off
You need
this
first
fucking
class,
plane.
homie.
It's so expensive.
It is really expensive.
It's not, it's like I'm not my comfort's not that important.
Yeah, we can't afford the pause.
I'll be a hot dog.
Yeah, I
fuck
don't care.
Yeah.
So, like when your family came over here, was it the typical try to live a better life, the American dream?
Yeah, pretty much. Like my dad, he worked for Oracle. It's like a big software company, and so he came over first, and then my mom and I came over. I think like a year or so later, and yeah, it's like the American dream, right? Where they're like my mom grew up on the side of a mountain, like literally the middle of nowhere, side of a mountain. My dad has her whole neighborhood is pretty much his family. So leaving that was really big for them, and then so coming here, it was like opportunity, growth, money, all that stuff.
Yeah, so you were supposed to be like a software tech. Why are you a dog trainer?
Supposed to be a doctor.
Okay, what is it with what is it with people from India and being doctors? Like, is it a cultural thing? Like,
Or customer service reps?
yeah. Okay, sometimes.
That's if we stay in India.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, exactly. But like everybody looks like, okay, so like Asian people are really good at math. There are a lot of engineers or software. Like, what is it with? Is there like a cultural thing with doctors and like service in from India?
Yeah, especially where I'm from. So the Malabar Coast is predominantly Catholic. It was converted back in like 52 AD by St. Thomas the Apostle. So the acts of service and serving other people has been kind of like, I don't know, like integrated into
Yeah,
our
a staple. Like,
yeah,
it's
a
supposed
staple
to
of our
happen.
culture. Exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of nurses, like a lot of the women, like most of my aunts are all nurses and stuff like that, and they would graduate nursing school and then be placed all over the country or all over the world actually.
Wow.
So coming over here, is the same kind of concept. My family was like, "Oh, we should be a doctor, or you can be a computer engineer." And I was like, "What about a lawyer?" They're like, "No, we don't do that shit." So you have 2 options.
I had another
pretty much.
comment, but I kept it to myself. Dude. I almost let it go. I didn't. Yeah.
So what happened?
I got into high school. I was, my friends were pretty cool, I guess.
Okay. Was there a lot of Indian people where you were from, or was it just were you the token and you had a bunch of white people around you? Or like Fremont's different, right? There's
Yeah.
Mexican cats. There's
Fremont's
black
super
people there.
diverse, so
Right.
there's a good blend of everybody. I wasn't the only Indian guy.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was a decent blend, but the kids I hung out with, one of them went to the Marine Corps, one of the other guys went into the Navy, and then a couple guys went into the Air Force, and they're all looking at me like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll probably join the Army." Right?
This episode is brought to you by Coffee Whipped. Honestly, guys, we drink Coffee Whipped here at the shop and in the studio. One of my favorites is the Dalgona coffee, but their Vietnamese coffee will get you energized throughout the day. You know, I'm carnivore, so I love their triple meat breakfast sandwich. They're a supporter of the podcast, and we love them. They support us, and they make amazing goodies right here in Huntington Beach. Check out at Coffee Whipped _. That's at Coffee Whipped _, or hit the link in the description below.
And we didn't really like sit down and talk about it, but even growing up, like when I would play with the neighbors' kids and stuff like that, we're all doing like Boy Scout stuff and practicing Army things. So it was really big into
Yeah, your
military
sister was
history.
checking heartbeats, and you're over there like,
Yeah.
I'll kill you, fucker.
Pretty much, right? Like my parents would like the rule was like when the lights turn on, the street lights turn on, you got to be home, right?
Yep.
So until then, I would make sure like we're like, oh, the lights aren't on. I think my cousin even like cut the light somehow. He like smashed his motorbike into the pole one time, and we're like, oh, that light didn't turn on, so I think we're good.
They have a light sensor. You just shine a flashlight in there.
Oh,
They
well,
never turn on.
Really?
Yeah.
When
Why
you
do
came-
you know that?
I don't know.
Dude, I did not know that.
When you came over here from India, it was straight to Fremont.
Hayward, Fremont, yeah, so roughly the same area, but Bay Area.
Yeah. So when you enlisted, were your parents were they upset? Like,
My dad was just like cool, like he's just stoic, right? These are what my recruiter said about my mom. He was like, or one of my recruiters, he said, it looks like she's like staring daggers into my soul. If I move the wrong way, I'll die. So like they came over because I was 17 when I enlisted, so you have to get parental like approval. So they came over with like the permission slip and all that stuff. And my dad was just like, all right, I mean, if you said you're going to do it, I guess you're going to do it. He signed it. My mom was just staring at me for like literally like 2 hours, the whole 2-hour meeting. She was staring at me like, you're so stupid. And then
Is it a fear thing? Because I know some people, like I have friends from Vietnam and stuff like that, and that it like more war-torn countries, like typically the parents a lot of the time don't, because they've seen so many people die or the country has been like involved in war for a long time, they don't want their kids to do it because it's an automatic assumption that they're going to get hurt or die. Why was your mom so like?
I think that's the basis of
Oh,
it,
it's the
right?
fear-
yeah, it's
the fear of death.
It's the fear
Yeah,
of the death, or fear of
Yeah.
the unknown, or fear
Right.
of loss. Right?
Gotcha.
So, and like looking back now, at my ripe old age, 31, it's like I get it, right? Like my parents, they came over here, they came from pretty much nothing, and it's like, especially my mom, I can like understand now how difficult it was for her to go on a plane without ever being on an airplane, go across the entire world where she like her that mountain she lives on is surrounded by family. So being able to leave everything you know and the language that you know to a country that you don't know anybody and you don't speak the language. So
And your firstborn child is now leaving.
Yeah.
exactly,
you know,
yeah,
we didn't come here for you to die.
yeah, so it was
Go be a doctor.
no,
Damn it.
and also the doctor thing, right? Because my mom was like, all right, you can join the military, but you have to go to school. And I was like, fuck, how am I going to work this? And I told my recruiter, and because I was super bummed, I showed up and I got switched to this female recruiter. So I was like, oh, Sergeant Kinto, I don't know what I'm going to do. And she was like, did the classic recruiter thing. Don't worry, I got you. Right. And I guess looking back, there was a like a $2,000 bonus to sign up some more reservists. And then she got that bonus.
So technically, so what's the difference? I don't know. It's my ignorance. So you could have signed up and enlisted, but you were a reservist for 7 years or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
how did that
several
work?
years. So
Okay.
it's just the style of what your contract is based off of. So if I went active duty, I would have signed a 4-year contract, and I would just been active duty doing my job for 4 years. But because I did the reserve contract, I went to boot camp, went to medic school, went to all the other training schools, and then I got assigned to a unit. It's slower, I would say, in the reserves, but it has its own different challenges.
Nice. So in the reserves, and is it like the typical reserves where you were just there for like a week or two and then come home, or were you still in there full time?
Yeah, no, it was just a regular reserve unit. So I was with the 341st Military Police Company, and the way the reserves work is they get you because they say it's gonna be 1 weekend a year and then 2 weeks back to back sometime throughout the year. But what I did when I got there is I checked off the little volunteer pick mark in one of the online programs, so now you can get picked up by other units to go on missions or go deploy and stuff like that. The unit that I was in, we did a lot of training missions. So it was a military police unit, but they had all the cool stuff. They didn't do a lot of cage kicking or anything like that. They mostly did combat support. So like our gun, like our like lock house was basically like had like Mark 19s, the 249s with like the short barrels, all like stuff that most units don't have anymore. So we had all that stuff. So because we had all those things, all of our people were pretty experienced. There's always people getting pulled for different duties and different things. So we had people get pulled for, I don't know, I think they work with Secret Service for a couple of years or something like that. People go over there. We have a lot of MPs that get tasked out to do different things. Even like our whole mission to go to Cuba was not a mission that our unit would typically get, but anytime they asked for volunteers, my unit was always like, oh, we have 50 people ready to go. Whenever we want.
It's like Rhett, right? He's
Kind of, yeah. His is like since he's National Guard, so he goes for sure 1 weekend a month. And then last year he was like gone for like what 9 months in.
I thought it was like 6, but
I think it was
right?
9 because it was
he was,
he
in the
was
Middle
deployed to Q8 for. I think for like the unit that was there, they were switching.
Embassy
they were going back
protection or
home.
something like that.
I think that they were on base. I think they were just there to cover the unit that was leaving before they were relieved by the next unit.
Yeah.
Much, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was there for I think it was 9 months actually. It was a long time. He was there.
So you
from
went to
December
Cuba?
September.
Yeah, so I mean, for that, it sounds like he was just put into the replacing unit.
Mhm.
He was there for 9 months.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I was in Cuba, Guantanamo Bay.
Like
How's that?
the infamous Guantanamo. All right, we need to hear some fucking sandwich stories. I want to hear some fucking stories.
So my job was
Anything good?
actually, man, I all the stories I have of stories of other people. I can't. The camp that I wandered into was not a camp that we could really like talk about too much.
Right.
But my job on base was not to deal with any detainees or anything like that. I was there to support the staff and the people and the sailors and sailors, Coast Guard, Marines, and Army that were stationed on base. So I was part of the joint medical group of Task Force Gitmo, and basically, like I ran a clinic. I got there, I got promoted pretty early. I was putting my E5 back in to become a sergeant, and I guess like once you become a sergeant and like do your job anymore, it's impossible. So they took me out of that, and I was basically a glorified like security guard where I would point people to different rooms. And then because I got bored, we would always volunteer for stuff, and then once in a while we get to go to the camps.
So you ran a clinic basically for our people that were there.
Mhm.
So I mean, was
Or
there
the-
like
or
a lot
the-
of STDs and shit?
Or the detainee.
Oh my god! So like
See,
goes, so,
I knew I could think of something.
so
Here we go.
Mondays we would call STD Mondays because like I remember looking on my calendar and I'd be like, oh, we have like 8 people here for coughs. That's weird, right?
Doc, what's this?
Yeah, and the I guess like the cough is your standard. Oh, I'm hiding something, so I'll
Right.
just put it under a cough. And so we have sick call in the morning. So if you're sick, you have 2 hours to get to us. We're gonna try to knock everything out, and then we have appointments. So Mondays are the worst because like nobody likes Mondays, and everyone wants to get out of PT on Monday morning. So it's like lines out the door. And if it's a real cough, it's easy. I just press some buttons, dispense them some cough medication, and go on their way. But usually, like they come in and I'm starting to ask questions about their cough because that's what my paperwork says. And they're like, "Well, actually, it's
Can you check this out for me?
yeah." And then that makes my job like 3 times harder because now I got to go talk to the doctors, and the doctors are usually like already typing up what they think is their cough, and they're typing up like their plan and all that stuff. And I go in there to deliver the bad news, and they're like, "Oh, now I got to get up and go deal with this." Right. Yeah, I got to the point where they would like I would just DM them. There's like an instant messaging app that we had, and I would like text them or DM them and be like, not a cough, you know. and
Down south.
They would already know.
It's down
and
south.
they would know. A lot of times, like we had a couple female providers, and they would just transfer it over to the guys. They're like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this." And they would just like send it over.
Is it
But-
just dudes just going into country and just getting, call it banged up? I guess.
So when I was there, I don't know if the rules changed, but when I was there, you weren't allowed to go into country. So there's like all these fences, and maybe the rules changed now because things are different with Cuba for the most part. But when I was there, for sure, the task force is not allowed to go.
Oh, so they were
go in
giving it to each other.
there, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is that just Guantanamo, or is that were you stationed anywhere else? Like, where was that normal that you couldn't go outside the wire, basically?
No, everywhere else, like when we were in Africa, like you can go do some stuff.
Right.
When we were, like Canada, like there's a certain point where after the exercise, you're allowed to go do things.
Fuck some Mounties.
Yeah.
Canada,
Mounties.
Canada was strict, yeah. But Cuba
I've never
was-
been there. I
I've
wanna
been around
go.
there a couple times.
Cuba was like, there's this term when you go on deployment and stuff like that called like deployment 9, right? It's like a real life like 2, but when you're on an island that has 2 roads,
It's a deployment night.
Those are my tens.
No, it's like Alaska hot, right? We have
Or
Alaska
Walmart
hot.
hot.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I love Walmart hot.
and when you're on an island surrounded by like the population is 90% dudes and like 10% women, it ends up getting a little weird.
Take what you can
No,
get.
no, that happens,
Yeah.
dude. You know.
So
That's fair.
one time I remember I got pulled into my commander's office and I thought I was in trouble because we got fucked up the night before. And I'm like, shit, I'm hungover. Like, where's Sergeant Woods? Because if I got in trouble, he should get in trouble too. So I was trying to get him in there, and then she pulls me aside, and like, it's her boss and like another like medical person, and they're like, there's too many STDs this month, and I was like, well, I don't know why you're pulling me in.
What do I have to do with it?
You need to stop your shit.
They're like, you should be policing the soldiers because you're an NCO. You should be out there policing the soldiers. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch them.
Yeah.
Let their dicks
Get your
all
dick
day.
out of there.
I'm out there partying with
We
them.
go hop in their bedroom real quick.
Hold on, let me wrap that up for you real quick.
But it all turned out that there was a woman. She showed up, I think, like a month beforehand, so she was new to the post, and they like tracked it down. So she was the one who like gave everyone, I think it was herpes, gave everyone herpes. And it's
That'll happen.
It does, yeah.
and it's sketchy because sometimes I'll be out at the PX and or I used to fish a lot when I was out there, so I'd be out getting my fishing stuff ready, and I would see this dude walk by and he's with this girl, and I'm like, I should say something, but legally I can't say anything.
Oh, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
You gotta
Man.
like cough or something.
Yeah,
you know?
could you imagine if your buddy
Don't
walking
do it.
by and
Don't
you're
do
like, I know you're gonna get herpes, but well, sucks.
I can't say anything.
Yeah.
You go catch some trout.
Hope they're biting today. All right.
I know you're gonna catch it.
My Joes were pretty good. They would show up at the clinic, not for a cough. They'd make a different reason up, so we knew that it wasn't an STD reason. But they'd be like, "Hey, I saw this girl. This is her information," and they just like slide over a little piece of paper to me, and I'm like, "All right, shit, fuck it." So put in their last name, put in their first name, make sure their rank is right, and I can pull up their medical file. So I can give them a you're clean or you're not clean.
That's good.
It's like fucking like Rome. Like,
Sorry, bud.
That's
was-
pretty funny.
Yeah, like, and it got to be like the standard practice once we left Cuba. So my guys, like, once we left, everywhere we would go. Remember, we got sent to Fort Lewis, and they were like, "Hey, dude, can you do this for us?" I'm like, "We haven't been to Cuba in like a year and a half. Like, are we still doing this? Why not? All right."
Pretty much. Sometimes you're just gonna have to wing it, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you're
well,
just gonna
you throw your dick, you may catch something different, you know?
inspect the area, and then they're good to go. Like, rock it,
whatever.
you know?
Yeah, and in medic school, we were taught if it's warm and wet and not yours, just wrap it. Right? Wrap it before you tap it. So whether that's like a blood or whatever you want, whatever fits, right?
Right.
Gross.
I wish Chuck would have learned that.
Whoa, I'm clean, dude. I'm like, can you check me out?
Run this real quick,
You
dude.
can only get it once. So you're good.
That's true. That's true.
Crazy. So after your 7, because it was 7 years total, right? that you were in?
8 years. Yeah.
No battle. Sorry.
No,
Sorry to
not-
interrupt. No combat.
No, we got shot at a couple times here and there and stuff like that, but never like actual official combat.
Damn it.
Did you shoot back?
No bodies.
Yeah. When we were in America, no, we were not allowed to shoot back. But,
That makes sense.
yeah.
Well, that's fair.
That's fair.
I mean, we can go into the Civil War movie. Did anybody see it yet?
I heard it was like super liberal.
Is it out already?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out, and then you heard something about it, right?
Yeah, that's why I haven't watched it because so many customers are messaging us like, "Don't watch it." It's from a journalist standpoint, so it's not really about like a real civil war, people rising up. I heard
What
it's-
is what you mean when they talk about that? It's from a journalist standpoint. It just is. And anybody that's on here, please comment or let us know if you watched it. But like, is it just showing both sides equally? Is that what you're talking
It's
about?
something along those lines. Like I said, it seemed like the movie was more directed and maybe voiceover or whatever from like a journalist. They said journalist standpoint. It wasn't.
we gotta watch it.
I still want to watch it.
Yeah, I gotta do
Hey,
our
You
homework.
know what we're talking about,
I
right?
have no idea. I don't even watch
Jesus Christ, he's too busy sewing.
The movie follows.
He's
like,
making
a group of
tugs and
journalists.
stuff.
What's
it
that,
follows
Kevin?
a group of journalists.
Yeah, there's like 4 of them, and they're trying to find out what's going on with the president because nobody's heard from the president in so many days or whatever.
Well, yeah, because he's senile.
And
Oh,
there's
I
an
don't know
actual
who's that.
civil war
Sorry.
in the U.S.
In this movie, it's Ron
People-
Swanson.
Ron Swanson.
People
Yeah.
tried to
He's super
supposedly not let it get released. because it's ringing like super true to home right now,
Okay.
especially with the divide in the
It's like
country.
in
and shit.
theaters or
Yeah.
on Netflix or what is it?
It was in theaters.
Theaters
Is it what
in the theater.
theaters?
Theater.
And I don't know when you're going to be able to stream it, but I don't even know what streaming source is going to pick it up if it's got a lot of.
I also don't know if I
controversy
want
around
to buy it. You know.
Yeah.
It's just a shitbag movie. I don't want to buy the damn thing.
It just, dude, do you know how much shitty money you've
I'll,
spent? bro?
I'll illegally
How many
stream it.
how many dates have you gone on in the last 3 months?
That's not important.
How many
Wasted
how many-
money, bro.
How many shitty ones?
Thank you.
Way more than good ones. That's for sure.
The movie would have been way cheaper, bro. Way cheaper.
Should take your next
Way
date to go see the
cheaper,
movie.
dude.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Like,
2 birds.
Fuck those liberals. I fucking hate this goddamn movie. Like, okay.
Shout out to my brother, who's AMC manager. I get 5 tickets free every day.
What the fuck? And we haven't. Why didn't we go see the movie?
Hell yeah, brother.
We should podcast from the movie.
Don't brother us. You didn't take us to see the movie, man.
Let's go. Let's go.
God dang.
God,
Live
could
from
you imagine
AMC.
all of us sitting in a movie theater watching a movie quietly? That'd be awesome.
I wouldn't. I don't even like them because I have to touch the seats and
Yeah.
shit, and it's fucking gross, man.
Oh no, somebody came on.
I like
these.
wear long sleeve shirts so that I don't have to touch them with my skin.
We'll get you one of those ponchos when you go on like the.
I'll wear it
water
like a
rides.
hazmat suit. Fuck
Uh-huh.
it, dude. I'm secure.
We got to make
I
sure
don't
that
care.
we got to have the bucket with the hole in the bottom though. Has to.
So I can shit.
No, what?
What are you talking?
You don't watch enough porn.
The popcorn bucket. Right?
You guys are gonna be sitting next to me. What do you want me to do with that popcorn?
Something,
You
I
gonna
don't
reach
know.
in for some popcorn?
Eat some
Yeah, pretty
popcorn,
much.
buddy.
Yeah.
Let's get intimate.
Intimate.
Intimate. That's funny.
Uh,
Okay, so you didn't shoot anybody, which is stupid. Could have shot anybody.
so
Like he would have had to help him after he shot
Yeah.
him because he was a medic.
medic.
Well, the cool thing is, it's different than like the police. Like if the police shoot you, they gotta go help you.
Yeah, there's no requirement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no requirement. Like we can take our time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a
Because
coffee.
they deserved it.
yeah.
and
Like
you-
I think what yours is like a should.
Yeah,
Theirs
you
is a
should.
shall.
And usually it's like so this is what I was told. They're like, look, your job is to stay in the fucking truck. So if you get hurt, everyone else gets hurt. So even like my first platoon, they wouldn't let me get out of the truck at all, and I was super like, I was like, this is not what I joined the army to do. So I got out of that unit or platoon really quickly. But one of my sergeants was like, look, after we shoot them, we'll just go over there and make sure they're dead, and you're good. You don't have to do your job.
That's a good way to look at
He's
it.
like,
yeah.
it's like as long as we just don't pass them and leave them there, we're good. Like according to Geneva Convention, we're good. And like he was
dead,
like,
dead check.
yeah, he was like dead check everything. You know, he was really old though, so I don't know how.
That still applies. Yeah.
Like, huh?
Yeah.
No witness is a good witness.
Right.
Yeah, that's how they put it. Yeah.
So after the reserves.
Yeah, after your 8 years, did you have a plan of what you were going to continue to do
Doctor,
or
right?
want to do? when you
Yeah,
got
the
out?
plan.
Dr.
Was to,
John.
Yeah, the plan was to be a doctor. So
Checking for STD.
pretty much.
He's like, no general practitioner. Fuck that shit.
He would have served us a couple times.
Yeah, I wanted to. Be
I might have been in my 20s. Okay.
maybe once or twice.
He was only like 5 when I was in my 20s.
We all were.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Fuck you, bro. Fuck, that's not nice. How
Grandma
dare they?
Justin over here.
Jesus.
that is. That's what was
The
question?
plan after you
Oh
got
yeah,
out.
I was. My plan was to be a doctor. Being a medic was cool because I got a lot of ins with doctors and stuff like that. So I remember one of the doctors. He was a ER doc for like somewhere in Illinois. And when I left Cuba, the plan was to go to his med school where he taught at because he's like, I'm gonna get you an in. And did all this stuff. And then I remember a year later, I reached out to him. Was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm going to be training dogs." And he like unfriended me on Facebook.
This episode is brought to you by Strike Industries, a longtime friend and supporter of Rifle Supply. Guys, Strike Industries has been making high quality and affordable parts and accessories for all your firearm needs since 2010. Whether it's for your AR, AK, Glock, SIGs, CZs, Strike's got your back. They've recently been making a name for themselves with their innovative products like the cable management system, which even got picked up by the U.S. Army. There's also fun stuff like their AirTag holders so you don't lose your guns while traveling. Recently, we've seen a lot of chassis action coming from Strike, like their SMC Bravo, which is for the P320 FCU. Click the link in the description below and check out strikeindustries.com.
That's how I know it's official.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, I don't know about that. But
How do you bridge that gap? Going
Yeah,
from
what's-
wanting to be a
what's sparked
doctor
your-
to
I think it all stemmed when I came back from Cuba, because Cuba was like very fun. It was fun for me. A lot of people sucks to be in Cuba, but for me, I had an easy job. It was stressful, but it wasn't super difficult, right? And I had a blast. Like I would work like 4 or 5 days a week. It's Caribbean. You can go out
Fishing all
anytime
the
you want,
time.
fishing all the time. Like I'd get off at like 3 a.m. Go to the like the little store, get like a chicken leg, toss it in with some string, wait for 15 minutes, pull out lobster. You know what I mean? At like 3 a.m. You know, so it was. I had a blast. I just what you make of it, right? So it's also the only place where you can drink while you're deployed. So they have like a bar. You can get fucked up. You can buy alcohol. So there's plenty of fun things to go do. So for me, I had a blast out there, and I was always with people. You always have a battle buddy. You always have someone that's up with you. When I got back to California, I ended up moving out of the city because it was just turning more and more into a shithole. And I was living with my family in Fremont, and just got to the point where commuting, I would wake up at like 5 a.m., commute to San Francisco, go to school all day, come back home, and it just got super depressing. So
how long was that commute?
like an hour and a half one way, right?
Yeah.
So hour and a half one way, and then hour and a half back, or usually like an hour back because it's a little bit easier on the way back. And then just the drive was killing me, and then sitting there in between classes was the real killer. Because before, I lived right across from campus, I could just walk to my apartment, hang out, chill, bullshit, or whatever. But once I got back, it was just different. Like, you spend a year with the boys, and then you come back, and it's all this like, oh, it's like, I don't know, I call it liberal behavior, but it's like all this like, oh, that's not our pronoun. I'm like, I just said it. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a. Well, I don't get what the problem is. And then just being in San Francisco, it was definitely not the city that I grew up in. You know, I remember going there as a kid, and it was a very different city. And so once I got back, it was just depressive. And ended up getting a dog, and I got this Australian Shepherd. And just went from there. I started training him, had a bunch of fun. Remember being super drunk up in Santa Rosa and seeing this guy called Forrest Mickey, super phenomenal dog trainer, and he was doing this thing called healing, which is like this focused attention while they're walking. And I was like, we were wine tasting. I was drunk as fuck, and I was like, I could do that shit. And then I went home and I tried to do it, and it didn't work, and it pissed me off. So then I was on YouTube the next day and trying to learn how to do it. And then 2 months later, I spent like $3,000 on videos and classes and all that stuff, and eventually figured it out. And it just became a hobby. I would get off school, come home, train the Echo. And I thought I'd get into competition obedience. I was like, this is the thing I'm gonna go do. This is gonna be my hobby. Because I was just going through hobbies at that point. Like, I was shooting, but then like ammo got expensive. Then I was making drones. Then drones parts got expensive, and I was like, all right, I need something that's a little bit cheaper. Dogs it is. And
Dogs seem pretty.
Not by much.
no, dogs is the most expensive thing I've done so
I was like,
far.
wait a minute.
Yeah, it's really expensive. But I was just watching some videos of competition obedience, and it's very interesting. Like
It
with the labs and shit. But man, they fly. Like
Yeah.
they fly up and down, and I was like, I wouldn't mind going to see that person, that national champion, because it's like we could integrate it. That's kind of how I got with Chris and different things. Like he integrated dog dancing and how they use the platform and different things. Like it's totally different than our sport. They do obedience, but it's just purely obedience. But
What's
these
the one where the dogs like run over the course and stuff, go through the tubes? and-
agility. It's
Yeah,
agility, right? But there's a ton of different ones that are really cool. But one thing I was going to bring up before, like, have you had somebody say that's not my pronoun to you personally? I've never encountered that, but I don't encounter a lot of this shit.
Well, I don't think it's around here. And
You think it's area based?
Yeah,
people,
for
you've
sure.
actually had somebody say that's not
in a class, in a classroom,
but in public, in a non-classroom setting, have you had somebody say
No.
like that's not one of my pronouns?
not in like a.
I haven't either.
But then again, I don't like randomly talk to people. I'm not a social person.
Me neither.
sometimes.
Yeah, the people I talk to, I usually know who they are, or like know.
But it's
Friend
weird.
or
Like
friend.
you're very personable, dude. Like
Yeah.
you talk to a lot of random people. But it's like I feel like this whole pronoun thing.
I think,
Once
like I said,
again,
it's
this is
aired.
season 2. But if you don't agree with us, come on the fucking show and let's have a conversation about it. But like,
But it's areas like
you think in Seattle or something, you're gonna get that if I say, "Hey, she's gonna go over there." Well, that I'm not a she, or that's not my pronoun. Have you? Nobody I know has ever had somebody go, "Oh, that's not my pronoun." So what I'm saying is that I feel like people are really fucking tough on the computer or in the classroom
Oh,
or in the
that
space where they're
too.
very protected. But when you're in a regular fucking environment with some dude that has 3-inch gauged ears and a bunch of tattoos, you're not gonna go, "That's not my pronoun. Don't call me that." Which is I find it very interesting.
I think it just goes back to if they're getting reinforced for it or not, right? So it's like in San Francisco or
fair.
in those areas, it's an echo chamber. So they're saying it to their friends are saying it to them, and then now it's like they
It's
have
self-reinforcing.
self-reinforcing. They're backed by like 20 people, right? They're like, oh, all my friends agree with me, right? And so when they
that's a
see
good
Chuck
point.
and they're like, fuck you and your gauges, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's a shit.
Yeah.
It's this is my pronoun or whatever, right? So
That makes sense.
yeah, I've only had it happen like in like classrooms and stuff like that, but not like just walking around, be like, hey, she looks cute, and just turns around and is like, I'm a he, right? I've never had that happen.
Dude,
All right, bro,
everybody,
you're
I'm
hot.
a, I'm a they, them.
I mean, have you gotten tricked before? Because I remember walking to a sex ed class, an advanced sex ed class in Long Beach. And I was with a buddy, and I was like, dude, the chick's hot. And it turned out to be one of the speakers on the train.
Tricked.
That was trans. Like,
I invite him in.
okay, we're not going there on this
Equal
podcast.
opportunity lover is what I've considered. Okay.
Okay, we're going back to the STD conversation. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to totally break up the
They-
flow
they
of
always
where you
wrap
guys
it up.
are going with that.
I feel like they tell Sam like, "Oh, I'm a it," and Sam would be like, "Well, what are we gonna
Yeah.
do?"
That's all that really matters, right?
Who's driving us home?
So, not you, because you've been drinking.
Yeah,
Okay.
Like you're driving, but you're gonna wrap it up later. Okay.
Okay, you
That's for
stop
sure.
it. You stop it right now.
I'm just saying.
But no, I think primarily it's that it's all the social
chamber
media
stuff.
fucking they want to be loud and proud on social media and try to go viral like, oh, these are my pronouns, but like literally because no one's really asking you your name or anything like that when you go to a store or a restaurant or anything like that. So
Well, it's like a girl. Like it's a tough one. Like, oh man, we're gonna be
So here-
treading in weird area here.
How about this, right? What if like you don't know? You look
Right.
at them and you're like,
Right.
what do I say?
Right.
I
It's a girl with long hair, but she has a mustache and armpit hair, but she's wearing a sweatshirt.
Sam will be like,
And then
"What's your
wearing
number?"
but then wearing a skirt and high heels. Like, what do I say? Like, I don't.
Hello.
What's your number, brother?
That's
like-
not my masculine term.
Right? Like what? Like it's just interesting. I don't know how to navigate
cuh?
that. I don't know how to navigate that situation.
When's the last time you were put in that in that situation where you saw someone like that? Like I live in Long Beach,
La-
downtown Long Beach.
Last night,
Last night.
Monday,
Oh,
I was like, what were you doing last night?
Sorry.
Monday night, I was
Oh,
at
okay.
pool league, and there was like, she was super butch. It looked like, but I don't know whether to say him or her. But I know it's a girl.
Yeah.
But she's very heavy set, and she has a cover shirt on and tattoos. But I know she's not straight. But like, what do I say in that situation? And I'm different than you in some ways, right? Like in some ways, you're more oppositional to that. Like you don't really want to involve. Like for me, I don't care. And this isn't a judgment. We're just talking, right? Like,
what do you mean though by me being what?
well, like you say all that liberal shit and then say things that are a little bit more opposing to gay or trans culture. I don't care about gay or trans culture. I don't have a problem with it. It feels like,
Yeah, I don't care about gays.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever said. What
Yeah.
What are you trying
The
to say?
hell?
What are you talking about?
oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. But like, I don't know exactly how to navigate that situation. And it's weird because I've never been up north, or I've never been in Seattle, I've never been in different
I don't-
spots
I
where
don't
you
think-
have to navigate.
I don't think it's used in common conversation. Like I don't go, "Hey, sir," because I know we're old.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go, "Hey,
exactly.
dude." Like,
I-
hey,
It's
how are
just
you?
a hello. Yeah.
Yeah, you
So,
wouldn't
like,
yeah.
hi, she.
You've definitely never fucked that up before, because I have 100%. But like, I've been like, oh, thanks, dude, and it was a girl.
Oh well, I do that just on the regular, like
To girls, you say
all the
thanks,
time.
dude.
all the fucking time.
I
Oh,
called
yeah.
Daisy dog the other day. I was like, "What's up, dog?"
Like I think today I was like,
Okay, fine.
Just saying.
I was talking to Ash. I was like, thanks, sir. I was like, oh,
But I
sir,
think-
like just
But I think even if it was a situation where you didn't know, I would just be, playing field on it. Like, hey, how's it going? Like, I wouldn't mention the bro or
I
dude
think
or
they're-
ma'am or sir.
yeah,
But
there-
what
there
if
are
you
people that blow it.
accidentally do it.
Yeah, I mean,
think
then
in
you
that
just say
situation,
sorry. Like
you stick with it and you just keep going. Because
Okay.
I was at a seminar and there was, I'm pretty sure she was a girl, and
You're still not sure.
I'm not sure. I don't know, because like I made the mistake and then they corrected me and I just kept making the mistake. I'm like, it's already in my mind, so this is the way it's gonna be. I'm the one teaching the seminar today.
That's fair.
You remember the good old days when you used to just stare at a girl's ass and be, yeah, it's good. And then you'd look up and she'd be either hot or not. Now it's like you can't do that because you look up and it's a fucking dude and you're like, oh shit.
See, that's what I was talking about. That's exactly what I was saying. It
Why?
doesn't matter if it's a dude or not.
Yeah, but you don't go up to the dude and be like, "Hey, nice ass, bro."
Yeah,
I mean, you
exactly.
could, but
Yeah.
I mean, you could,
I could.
right? But you wouldn't.
I'm not gonna.
Why wouldn't
why-
you
That's
compliment
All I
my
was
ass,
saying.
Raul?
I wasn't saying anything bad, dude. I was just saying we view it a little different. Like,
What's that
like
movie?
you come
Like,
out a
he
little
must
different.
work out.
That's Dumb and Dumber,
Dumb and Dumber,
dude.
right? Yeah.
He must work out. Like, I wasn't saying anything bad, dude, at all. Like, not in any way. But
I think it's
like,
I think it's the way it's handled too. Like if people are too, like if I fuck up on it and you just blow up on me, like all right, like give me at least one, like give me my mulligan. And
that's
let's-
that's fair.
you know.
That's fair.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. If you feel like you're gonna fuck up, well, trust me. If they really want to, they're gonna correct you.
Yeah,
And be like,
for sure.
That's
I'm
true.
I'm
That's a
her.
good point.
And then
Yeah,
you
if
just
they want to
like,
be a dick about it or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call
I mean,
it.
Yeah.
it's like sometimes, like when they walk out of the house, and when I say they, I'm telling a lot of different people, like they like, they don't realize that people are gonna have a problem identifying it, or are you doing it on purpose? And then
Yeah.
you
They're trying to make it
you're looking
confusing.
for a fight.
Yeah.
You know, it's just interesting. Like I said, I haven't been up north, so I haven't been in Frisco and those areas. I haven't been. You've been to
I mean,
Seattle,
e-
right?
even when I
haven't
was
been to
like,
different
even when I was
areas.
hanging out in Portland, when I was seeing that gal up there,
what's your girl?
What
she was.
are you?
Was he a
Positive,
girl?
pretty positive.
You
Kind
need
of
to
positive.
go see Dr.
The lights
Aby?
were off, so I don't know. I mean, we didn't really have much of an issue. Like, she had a lot of friends out there, and it was just one of those things. Like, if I messed up the first time we went to the bar, if I messed up, and I was like, "Nice to meet you, miss." She's like, "No, we don't do that out here." And I was like, "Okay, what's your name?" You know, and then just kind of go from there. I just called her name the rest of the night. You know, it's or their name the rest
She
of the
didn't
night.
like being called Miss.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, it was like for me, it's a respect thing. 'Cause I'm like, I don't know you. Like, fuck off. You know, like I don't even want to talk to you, but I'm doing it out of like the kindness of my heart to this lady I'm fucking right here. You know, like you gotta be.
Yeah, and like it all depends too on how you say it. You know, if you're saying to that person kind of being a dick,
Yeah.
then they're gonna respond to you
That's fair.
back being
Yeah.
a dick. You know.
Yeah, it's honestly kind of it can go back to the dog training. Like if you react to your dog in a certain way, they're gonna react in a certain way with like your tone and how you're actually saying the words.
Maybe
and shit,
I
too.
get that. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know. I'm never like fearful of it, but I haven't ran into the situation. That's why I was asking if other people have.
No, not yet. We live in a very. I mean, we talk about the orange curtain. You know, we're kind of protected by that.
Fucking love it.
It's so cool. It's really nice to be like just inside of it. So you're like when you go like I went to a Dodgers game recently. I was like, whoa, this place is
Oh, man.
weird.
Good luck, bro.
Interesting. This is so new.
One of the coolest things about moving down here is you like drive on the freeway and you see these billboards that say like you're in Orange County, we prosecute shoplifting. Like the first time I saw that, it just put this huge smile on my face. I was like, oh my god, this is
home.
And honestly, I follow a lot of police department Instagrams, and HB just does it like the fucking best. Like they every time they catch fucking thieves or people shoplifting or all that shit, like they post it up, and it's like, don't think you're gonna fucking do that here, you know?
Yeah.
Fucking people stealing Calic converter, like all that shit. They post it up, and
They have like an information officer, like an informational officer, like someone who just like who's their
Feeds the
marketing
press,
person. Yeah.
basically.
So she whoever does it now, I can't remember who it is, but they have access to Instagram and they post everything that they see. Anytime anybody gets busted for anything,
Yeah.
they're just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna post it and call it good. But it's actually a cop rather than like most departments, which is like a civilian asset that does it. So a
gotcha,
police
gotcha.
officer actually does that. for
so it's
them.
kind of cool. It's
Just
like
more an officer.
don't fuck around here because
It's cool.
won't
Yeah,
tolerate
it's
it.
nice.
That's even funny because, like, as a joke, I would walk into a store and be like, "Oh yeah, this is free, right? It's under $900." Every clerk was like, "What are you talking about?" Because in the Bay, they would at least laugh. But
Yeah.
everyone, I got the dead stares, and I was like, oh, "Okay,
Yep.
do that here."
Like, can't do it here.
Fuck you up, kid.
Try it, motherfucker.
HB's cool. HB's pretty cowboy. It's yeah.
It used to be more.
More for sure, but now I mean, compared to everywhere else, like locally, I think it's still pretty cowboy. Other than like Anaheim, Anaheim's pretty gnarly.
This episode is brought to you by Powerbase. Guys, we use Powerbase Bluetooth speakers in the studio, the warehouse, and even in the shop. We love their Bluetooth speakers. They've been around since 2000. They also do car audio, marine, and power sports, engineered right here in the USA. Not only that, they manufacture their own products. We love Powerbase. We use them also in our vehicles. They sound amazing. Visit powerbaseusa.com or click the link in the description below.
Some of the Anaheim
Alright.
cops, they're
Aren't
like
you in Anaheim?
That's Raul's.
Are you Anaheim?
They take me
Anaheim.
home, baby.
Anaheim cops are Anaheim cops are some of like the most highly trained cops in Orange County.
Can we go into that story?
I don't know. Can we?
I mean, there was nothing illegal.
Nothing illegal done. Yeah.
I mean,
well,
jaywalking.
Yeah. Well, that's barely.
Wait, he doesn't know
illegal
if he
now.
jaywalked.
I know. I don't know. How do you know I jaywalked?
Don't assume what he did.
The whole story is fucking hilarious. I don't know if this is the time and place, but I don't.
Ah,
we
fuck
just-
it. Why not? There's no name.
Aby will listen. It's
Yeah.
fucking funny.
All right, so crazy story. So me and my buddy Juanito, he calls me up. He's like, "Yo, there's piano dueling nights. You know, have you ever
Dueling piano.
Dueling piano?
Yeah.
Why does
So-
name have to be Juanito?
Because it is.
So on Beach Boulevard, literally the same street. You know, Knott's, Pirates Dinner Adventure, all that
Medieval
stuff right
Times.
there.
Medieval
Medieval Times. So the same building as the Pirates Dinner Adventure, there's that bar. So it's like every Tuesday. So like, yo, you know, Tuesday night, let's just have one or two whiskeys, you know, listen to some music.
Tweet
and then
whiskeys, please.
take off. Yeah. And cool, Tuesday night, you know. Fucking so I go, boom boom, we sit down, first whiskey, the girl's like, yo, it's my last night here, like I'm quitting, like I'm gonna hook you guys up. We're like, fuck yeah, you know. Fucking whiskey after whiskey, and then she's bringing us whiskey shots. And then fucking 30 to 45 minutes in, we're fucking blacked out. Like no joke. And then so next thing you know, I kind of fucking come to, and I'm across the street of Beach Boulevard.
You know Beach Boulevard?
Yeah.
It's like a
That-
fucking
that area.
freeway, basically.
Yeah.
Like
It's
fucking
like 4 roads on each, or 4 lanes on each side.
each one.
And just like
So I'm across the street
Play
at
Frogger.
the fucking hotel, and I'm talking to the, you know, the fucking receptionist guy there.
he has
who-
video. I don't know if we can post it.
He doesn't have video anymore.
You got rid of it? No, you did not.
Yeah.
It's on the cloud somewhere. We can find that.
and the dude looked like fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. Like no joke. I even showed these guys a video.
It was around the time where that Netflix series
Dahmer came out.
Dahmer
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah.
And the dude fucking looked like him. And I just remember telling him like, "Oh, I don't feel safe. You're gonna kill me." Like, and he's
He's
like,
at this dude's hotel. Tell him that.
and he's like, "Dude, I'm gonna call the cops." And I'm like, "Please call the cops. I don't feel safe right now." So fucking dude calls the cops. Fucking cops come. Fucking 2 cop cars, and they're like, "Yo, what's going on?" I'm like, "Look, I don't feel safe. I just want to go home. You know, it's all I want to do." And they're like, "Oh, you come outside, you know." And they're like, "Yeah, you look a little intoxicated. You know, can you get home?" I go, "Look, I just want to get home. You know." And they go, "Okay, let's see your license." So I give it to him, and then he was all
He
right.
lives right down the street, by the way.
And
Yeah.
he didn't, and he had a fully custom car at that time that was in the shop, so he was driving my car
Oh, okay.
at that time. So there's a bunch of different caveats.
Yeah. So then,
The one that's wrapped in rifle supply.
No, it was the white one.
so then fucking takes my ID, and then I'm like, fuck, you know, I'm just kind of standing there, and I was like, look, like I don't want to pull this card, but
But
you know, and I pulled out my business card, and I was like, hey, I work at Rob Supply, like I'm in charge of marketing. We donate a ton of money to a bunch of different police departments and causes. Like I just want to get home, and like he grabs my card, and then I fucking black out, and then. Next thing you know, I come to, and I'm in the back of the fucking cop car, and I was like, "Fuck, I got arrested." And then
You had
like,
only been here like a year or something.
yeah.
It wasn't like forever. It
Yeah.
hasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a super long amount of time.
And then as soon as I say that to myself, the fucking back door opens, and he's like, "All right, bud, you're home. Get inside." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And like they're in front of my house, and dude, I'm fucking stumbling down my fucking walkway to get to my door, and I fucking whatever couldn't pull out my keys. I'm like knocking. Fucking my wife opens the door. She's like, "What the fuck, blah blah? Did you drive like this?" "No, we're good. Cops brought me home." And so she like looks outside, no one's there. She's like, "What the fuck?" She walks out. She knew I had his car. She walks out. "Oh my god, where the fuck's the car at? Did you crash it?" I go, "No, we're good, you know." And then I fucking knocked out. So then she goes, checks the fucking cameras, and yeah, you see 2 fucking cop cars roll up. They let me out, and then whoop, take off.
It's so
fucking-
funny, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man, I'm probably all red from smiling. That's a funny story.
so wild fucking night, and yeah, like I guess I was the first one to use a Rob Supply card, and it fucking
It
worked.
happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yo,
And we
makes
don't know how you
big
made it
cards
across
off.
the street to the.
Yeah, and then he
Yeah.
will, and then the next
Oh.
day his ankle was all sore, like
Ankle was
super sore. He could
fucked up.
barely walk, so he must have
Scratch on
fell
my
on his way.
fucking- scratch on the side of my head.
So not only did he cross Beach Boulevard, but he fell crossing
Cross-
Beach Boulevard
Didn't die.
and didn't
get-
die.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
fucking
crazy.
As
Wow.
he shows us the video, he's like, "All right, this is the first and last time we're gonna watch this." Like, all right,
It's like in The Hangover, you know. All right, let's watch it once.
It was one of those like such an embarrassing moment, like, you know. But
That's
That's
what
such a-
that's
such
what
a good
happens when you
story.
go out with Juanito. Just kidding, Juanito. We love you.
so the next morning we go drive to make sure his car is still there. My wife's like, "If Justin doesn't kill you, I'm gonna kill you."
You're like, I got home safe and I didn't drive. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I'm like, we're pulling around the corner. My eyes are closed. I'm like, please, please. And fucking, yeah, exactly where I left it, parked it. So after I fucking blacked out, I didn't even go to the car. I just fucking walked across the street.
Found a hotel.
That's pretty crazy.
Dude,
Big Jeffrey
Where
Dahmer.
did
I don't
Juanito
even
end
know.
up that night?
How do we get on that story? Oh yeah,
dude, he ended up.
you guys got drugged.
Yeah, he ended up fucking like 3 cities down in a Target parking lot.
Yes.
That's really what happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Passed out in the parking lot.
Yep. And he woke up and he's like, didn't know what city he was in. He was just in a Target parking lot. It was like
Hell
City of
yeah.
Industry or some shit like that.
Yeah, been there, done
Yeah.
that.
Seriously,
That's fucking nutty.
So
Can't
uh,
drive
I've never
one over.
blacked out that hard before.
Neither have I.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I just haven't.
it's never your choice. It's usually other people's choices. Right?
fair.
Like I blacked out pretty hard, but not that hard. Not like different city hard.
Right.
Like naked in a public jacuzzi hard, but like not like
Okay, that's pretty hard, Sam.
it was not that bad. That was in the same city.
You don't
I
even know how
started
you
off
got
in.
undressed.
I don't know that. I just knew I was naked.
Some guy undressed me.
Crazy.
That's pretty
So now, obviously, you know, we do our dog training with you now. Obviously, Justin more than I, but
Everybody should.
yeah, everybody should. Your IG for the business is
Golden State Canine.
Golden State Canine. Yeah, obviously, when Justin,
You're gonna change that now that you moved to Orange County, or like Orange County.
still
you
the
know?
Golden State.
Still the Golden State.
But isn't Golden State more like up
It
north?
is.
Yeah,
It's like the whole state.
Still golden.
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
Golden Gate Bridge. Like
Down
Golden
here,
State
is
Warriors.
down here is golden.
It's like
Pony
slightly,
boy.
slightly
Yeah.
orange.
This
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
orange.
Yeah.
Orange State.
Call
Yeah.
it the
Just,
Gold-
Maybe,
just
maybe,
leave
we'll
it.
have, maybe we'll have it like meld from orange to gold.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah, just to make Chuck happy.
I'm just asking. I don't know. You left that area, so
Yeah, I was
Gold,
thinking- I was thinking
Golden
about
Curtain Canine.
Orange curtain canine is the best way to
That's
do
a good
it.
one.
Okay, that would get a lot of hate.
That would for sure.
Really funny.
But it'd be awesome.
So obviously you
orange-
went full
orange canine.
force, you know, with the dog training, and now obviously, I don't know all this stuff, but I know now you're PSA 3 with one of your dogs. Is that what it is?
PSA 2.
PSA 2.
I passed the 2 with my dog Zeus. He's my male, the older dog that I have. And so we're competing in the 3s. We've done about 3 showings and then hoping to do it
how many
this year.
dogs do you have?
I have 4 dogs.
4 dogs. Damn.
Yeah, what's crazy is, and obviously, Cali Canine doesn't post like none of his trainers, right? That are all behind the scenes. But I had been following for a long time, and he was like, "Oh, he used to work for him," and I was like, "No shit!" Like it's wild because I seen Cali Canine like his training. I'm like, "Oh, the dude makes pretty good videos. You know, he seems really informational." And to learn that like you were one of his right hand men, like behind there, like that's crazy. Did he teach you all this stuff, or did you already know the stuff and you just went there to work?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Well, a little bit of both, right? So when I wanted to get into competition obedience with my Aussie, I did all the stuff I knew how to do, and then I signed up for an 8-pack of lessons at Cali Canine. That's where I met Rich Akina. So he owns his own business up in Gilroy now called Akina Canine, and I was lucky enough to just shadow him for like almost 2 months because Joss was out of the country. And so I shadowed him, learned a ton, and then I already had a little bit of knowledge from me training Echo, and then just really quickly started like picking up shit. And then 2 days later, they're like, "Oh, take his dog on a walk." A week later, they're like, "Okay, go train that dog instead." You know, so really quickly, I like rose through the ranks.
So wait, you signed up for a package, but then did they hire you after that?
Yeah, so halfway through the package, I think it was my 3rd lesson out of 8. My Rich was like jokingly like, "You should just work here," and I was like, "Maybe I fucking should." And then a week later, I was working there.
So do you have to like take training classes to become a trainer?
Not necessarily.
Well, there is no.
Is there no like
No.
certification
Yeah,
as
no.
like a trainer or anything
yeah,
like that?
it's a super unregulated industry.
It is.
So
That's
there-
why,
But
like,
there's only certifications for the dogs or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Or okay.
yeah, I feel like the pandemic created so many fucking dog trainers.
Like 20 million.
Yeah.
well, because everyone got a
Like-
dog, right?
Right. Yeah. Well,
Why did
I
you
was.
point
I'm
to
not.
you?
Why'd you? I'm not a dog trainer. I just got a dog.
He
during
trains
the
his own
pandemic.
dog. He doesn't do it for a business.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make you train your dog? That makes you a dog trainer, doesn't it?
No, but I
No.
mean, so many trainers that like, oh, hire me,
Train.
I could train your dog. I felt like
It's
it
a
was
compliment when somebody says that.
it was just flooded with so many fucking
Yeah.
people that all of a sudden like, oh, they're dog
And
trainers.
it's weird because it took me a long time to tell people I was a dog trainer. I was working at Cali Canine for a while. I was their head trainer. And even then, I was like, people would be like, "What do you do?" I'm like, I work with dogs, right? Because there's always that point where you're like, I know a little bit, but I don't know. I know that I don't know a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was like when COVID hit, people were like, "Oh yeah, I just picked up this dog yesterday, and I'm a dog trainer now."
Yeah.
Right? I'd be like, "Christ,
Yeah, I
right?
made him sit. I made him stay.
Yeah.
I can help you too.
Exactly.
Right.
Or I can do all these things, right? And it's like the dogs are in their living room with like tape on the wall so they can't look out the windows. And I'm like, yeah, my dog is great in here, you know?
Yeah.
And then they
In a very controlled environment.
controlled environment. They
Yeah.
can't take the dog outside and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, technically the dog is trained, I guess. One room.
So
Yeah, so I'm not a professional dog trainer. It's a compliment when anybody like AB or Chris say like, "You're a dog trainer." Like that's a compliment to me. Like that's
So if you're
that's a
training
big
your
deal.
own dog, that doesn't make you a dog trainer. Only if you train multiple dogs.
So people
Like
like
industry standard.
people like
Again,
me on
there's
the
no
outside-
regulation,
Yeah,
no.
there's no regulation. Now there is in different countries, which is which is a totally different topic. Like UK, they're banning e-collars and prongs, and that's a totally
breeds
different
and-
subject. Yeah, but like, no, there's no certification. But somebody on the outside like me, I wouldn't. Maybe somebody else would, but I won't. I'm not going to call myself a dog trainer. Yes, I'm very good at training my dog, but I don't know if that would apply to other dogs. I think it would, but I've never tested my skill on other dogs, and that's the big step of grabbing your balls and being like, yes, my system works, or I know how to train other dogs. That type of thing, where you're a dog trainer.
it's funny
I
when
feel.
when we went to that one on the ranch that I went with you this summer. Oh, the Chris and
Oh, Kelly, call
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
so I went with them. I'm like, cool, you know, take some notes, you know. I think I had like that much stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna the next day. He's like, oh, I'll send you all my notes. Fucking dude, bro, you got all this from?
He has like 5 sentences.
You're like, our notes are the same.
Yeah,
they look good. Yours look exactly like mine, dude.
like from way
Did you
back
copy
then.
my notes?
Yeah, from way back then, I was like, dude, he's taking this like to another fucking level. Like, you know, his whole note
fun.
taking and like he dove into it, and I was like, like, but it was good.
Anything to make me happy, right? Because you guys used to bitch.
Yeah,
I was way happier when I brought Nakoa.
Oh yeah.
The days were better.
Oh
when
yeah.
I
Yeah.
brought
So much
Nakoa.
better.
yeah.
So much easier.
I don't think so, but whatever.
Oh well. I have the beholder.
Agree to disagree.
Fuck you guys.
But I definitely think he needs another puppy. It's already that time, you know.
Oh,
I think,
dude, I've been saying it for a year.
Yeah,
I remember-
it's getting there.
Yeah, he called me and he was like, "You were right," and I started laughing.
I did.
he needs that next distraction.
So to make him happy again.
No, I just pound Nakoa into the ground. I overtrain him because he's a Malinois, so he will constantly work. He's never gonna say no. I don't want to work. It has to do with me controlling my impulse to want to train, because I'm an athlete and I'm competitive and stuff like that. So like another dog, Juan told me even before, and I didn't listen to him, and then AB told me, and then it finally clicked, and that's when I called him. I was like, dude, I gotta get another dog.
Your little dog, Picasso.
Yeah, Pablo.
Pablo.
Yep, yeah.
Dude, that dog is fucking amazing. Every time I see him, just his drive and
Yeah.
what he was. Well, when I first seen him, I think he was like 4 months. Wild, holy shit!
He doesn't
like,
even bark anymore. He just screams now.
really.
Is he getting there to
What?
that? The screaming?
Oh, yeah. When we worked with Psych the other day, Psych was like, "Do you want to?" Or Chris, right? Chris,
Yeah.
he was like, "Do you want to work on the barking?" I'm like, "No, this is scarier." Imagine like, I want to put him on a department, hopefully. So imagine like you're doing some shady shit, and all you hear is like a demon screaming in the background, and they're like, "I'm gonna send this dog after you," and you're gonna give up. One of the biggest like testaments, like there's this guy or handler in Fremont. He used to have this dog called Nash, and Nash only has like 2 or 3 bites, but he has like 5 million surrenders because people would just hear him screaming from inside the car, and they're like, "Yeah, it's not worth it. Don't whatever's in there. I don't want that thing to come out."
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's like Oscar has Guapo, who has like that pretty famous scream.
Scream,
That's
yeah.
a Lucy. You might be able to look that up and put that over whenever you're looking over.
What does
like
a dog screaming sound like?
It's. I don't have my phone on me, but I could show you.
You don't have a phone?
You have a phone?
I fucking hate you guys. Right now
I kind of
so
like
much.
this though. He's not checking his phone every 5 minutes. Or,
Okay, there was another issue. You know, we're not-
I didn't know that was the thing though. Dogs, they scream instead of bark.
I
it
don't.
like
Is it? Because I remember I heard that like sometimes it's not a malformation of it, but like they should be barking, but they scream instead.
Yeah,
Is-
so It just depends. So I think it's from the dogs being kind of pent up and holding it in, and at some point they're just gonna let it out. and it
Like
just
I want
comes
to
out.
fucking kill you, like,
Right,
and
yeah.
it's just roaring out.
Yeah, because you'll see with puppies, especially the Malinois puppies, where they're like 8, 9 weeks old, and they want that toy so badly that now they're not even barking for it. They're just continuously screaming, you know.
Mhm.
So I think it just depends on the dogs. I don't think it's like a physical thing. I think it's
What,
just
what do you
mental.
like doing more? Do you like doing more obedience training, or do you like doing more of like the PSA training with, trying to do
You
that
mean
stuff?
pet? You mean pet or competition?
Yeah, yeah. Which one do you like better? Which one is more?
I mean, I think it's more fun to train my dogs. That's always gonna be more fun because I'm getting a little bit more out of it. But I do really enjoy coaching people. So it's not necessarily me training, let's say your dog, for example. It's not me training your dog that's cool or fun, but it's me training you.
Yeah.
And then you're going like, oh, I connected the dots and now see that it works. I always tell, like, it's like a weird joke I might make with my clients. I go like, after we're done training, I never want to hear from you again, right? Because the goal is like, if I give you all this information, you should know how to handle your dog and how to do all the stuff, and you shouldn't really need me. And then the funny part is like, all my clients stick with me forever. So they're like, oh, I want to learn how to do this now. I want to learn how to, like my clients in the Bay with this one German Shepherd. She did great in obedience. He's off leash, and then she wants to teach him how to track. We taught him how to track. Then she wants to do nose work. He goes and does like a bunch of competitions for shits and giggles and wins first place. And then she was like, oh, I want to learn how to do all this other stuff like herding and this and that. And that makes it fun for me because it's like I don't mind going in and solving the problems with the dog, but if we can do more with our dogs, then that's always gonna be better.
Yeah.
Can you train a dog to go to the fridge and grab you a beer?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Is there like
I'll bring Echo next time.
is there like an off limits training you don't do, or do you kind of do it all? Like if somebody wants dog sniffing, dog protection, dog regular pet, like is there you can do it all?
For the most part, I think like if there's something that I feel like is like out of my depth, I'll probably refer it off to somebody. But it's really more how I feel about the client. So if I get like a weird vibe, or if it's just like I just need this problem fixed, then it's probably not the client that I'm really looking for. I want someone who's gonna invest in their dog a little bit. So because when I was working at Cali Canine, that was the issue. We never said no to anybody, so I would just get burnt out. Because it's like I'm coming in, I'm doing the effort with these dogs, and then they go home and we do the exact same thing a week later.
Back
Now-
to zero.
Yeah, fast forward like 12 weeks, and then they're complaining because their dog's not making anywhere, but we've literally done the same lesson for 12 weeks.
Yeah, it's funny. I seen
So not the dog, it's the
it's
Yeah.
Handler most
yeah.
of the time.
So it's funny. There was a dog trainer I was listening to the other day where he was like, "Yo, you guys are paying for these boarding trains." He's like, "Which is great." He goes, "But then you realize after you spent that $5,000, $10,000 that it wasn't your dog. The problem was you. Because your dog is good for a week or 2 weeks, and then it starts going back to how the dog was, and you say to yourself like, why is my dog doing this? I paid $10,000. It's not your dog. It's you.
Yeah, I think it's both, because I think trainers can use that to kind of just shift the blame on the clients all the time. But like for my dog
that's
Nami, right? Justin's seen her work without an e-collar, biting, recalling, healing, and doing all the stuff that she does with me, but with somebody else. And yeah, at first I gotta manage her a little bit and make sure she's kind of gets tuned to that new person. But really quickly it gets to a point where I can take everything off and she's working almost just as good as for them as for me. So part of it is making sure the dogs are actually trained, not just somewhat trained. And then the other piece is just training the handler, because like when they come in, our job is not just to train the dog, but now we need to coach the handler on, okay, what are your 3 biggest problems? Okay, they run out of the front door. Well, this is how you're going to handle that. And then after we give them that information, now it's really on them. But I find that most of the time, it depends on the company. When I was at Cali Canine, we didn't have a lot of time to give them all this information that we just learned about their dog in the past month or 2 months or whatever. So it makes it more challenging, because you have an hour to get through a ton of information. And so for me, I found success because I didn't try to teach them everything. I go, okay, what are your 3 big things that you sent your dog here for? All right, let's make sure we cover those 3 big things. And then if we get through all that and they're doing really good, I can have the cherry on top and I go, cool, your dog also learned these cool little tricks, right? Your dog now is not running out the door, it's not barking at dogs, and it loose leash walks. And now let me show you how to do some agility. Let me show you how to do something fun with you.
Because most pet people, not that it's anything different than ours, because I actually Nakoa is a pet also, but he works too. But most of your pet parents, like you have a dog too, you have Bullet. Like I just want them to be good and be fun. I want to enjoy them.
Yeah.
I don't want to have them bolt out the front door. I don't want to have them attacking dogs. I want them to recall when I say, hey, come here. And that's really it. Like there's not a ton of stuff. I want to be able to say place and go lay down, and then you just know that that's your area. Like there's a certain amount of skills that pet owners, like you're a pet owner too, right? Like Tyson isn't a competition dog, right? But like there's just certain things that you want to do. So it's I think if you can stay pointed, like you said, on those things, you have a happy client at the end of the day, and then you can end up teaching more things.
Because like it's surprising how many houses you walk into where you're like, I can't believe people live like this. I remember walking into this lady's house, and she was super excited because I remember I made a comment during the eval. I was like, oh, we need to make sure the dog's not peeing in the house. And so I walk in, and she's like, the cleaners just came, right? And I was like, well, it kind of still smells like pee somewhere. And and we like moved the couch, or we're like looking everywhere for it, and moved the couch, and there's this giant puddle just like staining into the hardwood, and it's been probably sitting there for like weeks, right? And even the first time I walked in there, like there's like pee on the walls and all these little things, and she was like, oh, it's normal, it's a male dog. And I'm like, I have a ton of male dogs that are not neutered, and this is not normal, you know? But people find a way to live with their dogs, and so there might be like one or two like pain points, right? And what I feel like is important for my dog might be different than what Justin feels is important for his dog. So like for me, it's isolating those pain points and going, okay, well, I can fix this for you. Because 90% of people think their dog is great, except they bark at the door, right? But everything else is good. So now me coming in and teaching them how to sit and down and do all these other behaviors that might not make sense to the clients, like doesn't really help them, right? And I feel like that's what happens in a lot of board and trains. The trainers are very skilled. They're good at teaching dogs how to do things, but not really effective on showing the clients like, okay, now they have all these different obedience skills, and we can use these skills to now solve your problem. So it's hard for your dog to run out the door if they're staying on their bed. Okay, so we send them to the bed, and then we go into the door. And a lot of times I get clients where they've been to another board and train, and they send their dog to me for a board and train, and I'm like, this dog is great. And then they do their pickup, and their pickup is really me just explaining how to do certain things. So like it's both, right? It's easy for us as dog, or me as dog trainer, to go, yeah, it's the client's fault, like I'm great. But in reality, it's not just training the dog that's important, but it's also coaching the client, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to handle that dog, take it to the vet, feed it, walk it, do all the stuff. So if we're not showing them how to do it, then they're not going to just magically just figure
It's
it out.
not the whole package at that point, right? It's like when you're building a gun. Like people come to us to build an AR, like, what do I want? I don't know. What do you want? And they're like, I don't know. What do I want? So you're just taking them through the steps of what's going to be best for them, you know, and not just.
It's always like it's kind of the same thing. Like, what's the purpose of the firearm? You know,
right.
What do you plan on using it for? Like, oh, just like regular plinking. Like, okay, I'll make it a gun that's fun to shoot.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
like,
What's your budget? How can we
Yeah.
work this out? Okay,
For
these
sure.
parts will work good for you. It's kind of the same thing, right? It's just like good customer service, like finding out what the needs are of your client and then trying to fulfill those needs. You know, so
I know you guys can both kind of walk us through this. I know you guys both started the Black Sheep PSA. What exactly does that mean, or what is that?
Okay, so I've never been part of an official club, so it's really cool for me because now I'm I'm the president of an official club that's registered with Protection Sports Association. So that just means that we have a club that is backed by the entire organization. We're part of that big organization, and we can host events. So we can host seminars, we can host trials, we can host competitions, all sorts of mock trials, all sorts of different things. And now as an official club, people can come join our club and then kind of join our cult and train with us.
What does it take to become a club?
it's actually pretty easy. You have to have registered members, and you have to register with PSA Canine, but you have to have people that are in good standing with PSA Canine. So PSA is Protection Sports Association. It's been up since, I believe it's 2001 or 2003. So it's over 20 years, right? And so, like, the big thing about it is people don't understand what it is. And it's like the easiest way is to say, yeah, military or police dog. But they have different caveats that they do that we don't do. The tracking, the searching, the different stuff, that's not part of our sport. Our sport is really centered around obedience and then protection. So obedience and then bite work, basically. And, like, the cool part about it for me is, like, it's all surprise scenarios. In dog sports, there's a lot of different sports, right? You have Mondio ring, French ring, Belgian ring, you have IGP, Schutzen, these are all different sports, but ours is the only one that has a ton of surprise scenarios and is very subjective on the judging. right? And that's what people in other sports hate about it, right? But what we like about it is that we get to wear a vest. We don't get to wear our training vest when we do it. We don't have to wear an apron. We don't it's regular clothes in regular situations, and let's navigate the dog through those situations, handle the dog through those situations. So like it's cool because everybody's like, oh, you have a Malinois, does he bite? Yes, he does, but he also does obedience. And protection sports is like all of that. But in 21 years, I think there's only been 40. I don't know if it's at 41 now.
Yeah,
It's right around 40
40,
dogs out of the tens of thousands of dogs that have competed that have ever achieved a PSA 3 ever. And 6 of those were between 2 people. So Jonathan Katz and Jerry Bradshaw, who's the founder of PSA, have 6 dogs. They both have 3 apiece, right? I think Janet has 2.
Janet's too. Yeah.
Right? Janet Edwards has 2. So you're talking that's 8 dogs gone. So make it 32. There's really only been 32 dogs out of, you know what I'm saying?
32
Right
people.
there.
Right.
32 people that have actually achieved a PSA 3, and that's what he's competing in with Zeus. And that's what I hope to get to with Nakoa. So like it's fucking nuts. Like that's the part. I have good friends in French ring. I have good friends in IGP, and I love both of those sports. But there's a lot of dogs with 3s. There's a lot of dogs with ring 3s. There's a lot of dogs with IGP 3s, which is still the highest. You have to pass every level twice. 1s, 2s, 3s, twice. But with PSA, there's only been 40 dogs in 20 fucking years. Like there's probably, I don't know how many dogs get a ring 3 in a year, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot more.
It's
right?
a lot.
It's a lot more.
Like,
I
and so
think
ours is really hard.
the hard part is because it's such a challenge for the handler. Like teaching the dogs how to do this stuff is not the hard part. Everyone's pretty good at that. Even in our club, I was surprised at the level of obedience. Even with a lot of the newer members, their dogs are sitting, downing, staying, even have some fancy focused heels. But it's the understanding how to handle it. Because when you first see a PSA trial or a level 3, you're just like, what is going on? They're just people running around in circles, you know? But then when you actually look at it and understand the rules and you break it down, there's common traits that are in every trial. And it's more, for me, it's like, I don't play golf, right? I'm not rich enough to play that sport, but I train dogs. That's my sport. And it lets me think. It lets me go, okay, well, these are the skills that I know how to do with my dog, and my dog is good at. How can I solve this problem using the skills that I have?
And if anybody wants to see that stuff, there's some local trials. And it's tough because the West Coast used to be real strong in PSA, and now the East Coast is real strong. And we're trying to bring it back to the West Coast being a powerhouse. But
Oh yeah, you guys sound like a gang for sure.
it's Tupac and Biggie, right?
Yeah.
We didn't ask, but we didn't have a guest, right? Your normal question. But so like in the end of August, there's going to be a trial in Norco at our home field, but it's not our club that's hosting. It's a different club. So if anybody wants to come out and watch that locally, it's interested in dogs and dog sports and biting and shit. It's a lot of fun. And then one in October in Compton.
Oh, September. End of September.
Oh, end of September in Compton, and it's in the industrial part of Compton.
What's wrong with Compton?
Nothing.
You want to bring it back to the West Coast?
Straight out of Compton.
It's at Granger. It's at Granger Field.
How
over
does
there.
somebody join your club? Do they just like walk up like, yo,
That's him.
I want to be part
And
of
do
your
you have
club?
to? Is there certain kind of dogs?
No,
It could be
that's
any
the cool
kind of
part
dog.
about PSA.
So a
is
Chihuahua, I get a Chihuahua.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I might have to not pass you or not let you in, but
I'm just
but-
curious. Yeah, how does that work? Somebody like, yo, I want to be part of your club. Like,
Okay, do we
what's-
want to do dogs or going in first? You're
Yeah.
doing both of them.
He asked first.
Okay.
I can do both, right? So the first step, I mean, because the answer will answer both questions. So the first step is contact either myself or Justin, and we do an eval basically. So you come out to club. For me, the priorities of the club are competitiveness and then good vibes. Those are the priorities. So if you're a competitive person and you want to win, then you're gonna have a dog that's gonna meet that, right? So like a Chihuahua, they do bite, right? I have the scars on my hands, for that, but you can also punt a Chihuahua like across a football field, right?
Yeah.
So they might be able to play in the sport, but unless I see like really, really good drives out of the dog, then it's probably going to be a no, right?
Ron Burgundy quote, like picture right there with his dog getting punted. But anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
But yeah, but because like I've done bite work with like French bulldogs, and I've done bite work with like those short XL extra small bullies or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Is that the ones with like the real crabby legs?
Yeah, I've done
God,
bite
that's
work.
so weird.
I've done bite work with them. Like
Really? One of those? Though?
yeah, like Marshawn Lynch has a dog named Beast Mode, and he's not that bad, but he's low to the ground. And so we did a bunch of bite work with that dog, right? So
Oh, shit.
it's like it's doable. They like to bite, they like to have fun, but are they going to do well in the sport? So the first step is making sure like you're competitive, and that's going to check off. If you have the right dog, you have the right goals, and you have the right idea. Some people just want to do it for fun, and that's fine too. But I want a competitive club where we're all kind of pushing each other to get better, not just come out and have fun, right? And then the second piece of that, which was your question, right? Which was that again? Oh, how to join?
Kind of how?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
how
how
to-
do you join?
yeah,
Like,
how do-
you,
somebody-
you have Adobe. Adobe's. There's
Yeah.
been Adobe that I think was national champ 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
If somebody's
Okay.
like
Yeah, and it was-
interested, like
Yeah. So then, like, so we do our eval. You come into club. We want to make sure, take a look and see where your training is at. If your training needs a little bit of work, then I'll offer you some private lessons at like a discounted rate. So we do some private lessons. We make sure that when you do come to club, you're not just sitting there twiddling your thumbs or working your dog for like 5 minutes and that's it. Because that happens a lot with newer members where their dogs don't have all the skills that they need. So come out, you pay your $100 or whatever, and you do 5 minutes of work and you're pretty much done. And then all the other time gets put to the other club members, which is not usually fair, but it's just the way clubs are. Like for my dogs, it's gonna take a lot more to train and work with them than like a dog that's brand new. Right? So we assess where your dog is at, and then after that we can take it to a vote. So I want to make sure everyone in the club is pretty comfortable. I have like the presidential veto, but for the most part, if there's like let's say it's like Chuck's trying to join the club and Raul was like, man, he has gauges, I don't like that. Right? I'll be like, it is what it is. It's not a really good reason to dislike somebody, but we'll see what's going on. But if there's like a more serious reason or there's something some problem, then we go back to rule number 2, good vibes. So I want to make sure like everyone's having fun, everyone is moving toward where they want to go. There's plenty of clubs in the area, so we're probably the most open, but there's plenty of clubs, right? So it's also really like I didn't know this. Justin, I was lucky because Justin started the club and he did all the work, but it is really easy to start a club. So if it's not with us, then they
Yeah.
can start.
There's a lot of clubs in the area.
There's some, but not all of them are open, right? There's clubs down in San Diego. There's some in LA and stuff like that, but a lot of them aren't taking new members,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a lot to run a club, and for like somebody like AB who has a dog in the 3s and a dog in the 2s, and you're a training director with 10 other people, so that's at least 12, 15 dogs that need to be worked, right? Because a lot of people have multiple dogs. When does his dogs get trained, right?
Yeah.
He gives everything to the club, and then like his dogs have to get trained too. So it's a lot. But the way I think we do it, it's a little different. Is like if the eval is there, and it's not, there's some things that need to be worked on, and that discounted rate, like then you get a discounted rate, but you get him one-on-one to work on those issues because you want to be competitive in the sport, and that's what you want to do. So then you put in the time and the little bit of money, and you get those privates with him. And I think you kind of modeled that on a little bit on Katz's club, right?
Mhm.
Too, right? Like
Yeah.
that's how, I don't know all the clubs everywhere, but like that's how he kind of ran his, with like, yo, let's get this skill set up. If you're still competitive and you still want to go, then let's do a probationary period with the club. Make sure the vibes are good and everybody gets along, and we can have a good time too. Because like that's the thing about PSA is nobody's making money off of it. It's about us having a good time with our dogs. And like for me, it's a little more because I don't have any kids. So if I can get a title, if I can get titles, like that means something to me. But like it's about having a good time. None of us are making millions of dollars. None of us are making any money.
Who's the biggest club around?
Oh man, are we gonna get in
the
trouble
area?
if I say this? I mean, on the West Coast.
Yeah.
On the West Coast.
Call it California.
Oh,
We'll really shrink it down for
The
you guys.
biggest club is probably Raw Dog
It
Sport.
is,
Yeah,
probably the
in,
biggest.
in Martinez.
yeah.
So
That's where we
they're-
just trialed.
Oh, okay.
Justin Campos and Lexi, like super nice people. That's back up in your area.
Yeah, so I used to be part of their club like when I first started. When I first got into PSA, I knew I wanted to do it pretty much when like even before I got my Australian Shepherd. When I was on the East Coast, one of my sergeants, he dragged me out. He needed someone to go with him and took me to a
Dog
PSA
trial?
trial. Yeah, to
Oh,
a PSA
shit.
trial. And I was like, had no idea what the fuck was going on, but I was like, that is cool, right? And I've seen Mals and Dutchies in the army and stuff, and so I was cool to see them bite. And so when I got out, when I was looking for a dog, I was like, I'm getting a Malinois, of course, right? But my family was like, no, if you're staying here, you're not getting a Malinois.
Yeah, you already pissed us off by not being a doctor.
Like,
Fuck it, I'm moving.
and so I ended up getting an Aussie, right? But when I first started, I was training with Raw Dog Sport, so Justin and Lexi,
Yeah.
Justin and Lexi, they're
mean-
good, but they have a lot of so that goes back to your question, like any dog can do it. They do a lot of off breeds. So off breeds are breeds that are not particularly like bred for the sport. Like PSA is basically invented for the Malinois and Dutchies. They're just naturally.
Like, what if you
really
just
good
have
at
like
it.
a mutt?
Yeah,
Yeah,
as
you can
long
do
as,
it.
as long as
Yeah,
it works.
Pit,
Yeah.
pitties, rescue pitties.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, Justin has a rescued pit that's in the 2s, stuff like that. And then you have like, there's not, Jen has Bay Area PSA, there's Incognito down south. I mean, Max and Utang is probably the club with the most threes active, maybe, or achieved. I know, and they're in
Yeah.
Utah. They're in
Either-
Utah.
Either them or wherever Don Siggins is at. I think there was a club when the first 2 clubs, one's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast.
Oh,
So I'm not sure if that club. I haven't
Gotcha.
really kept up with them.
Gotcha.
So you think, are your parents still upset that you're not a doctor? Like, how do
I
they
don't know.
feel about you being
you know,
a dog trainer?
I think my mom would probably, like, somewhere in there, she'd probably be a little more upset. But my dad is just like, whatever. He's pretty stoic. So he's like, it is what it is.
He's a stoic software engineer.
Yeah.
Is he a software engineer?
He's not a software engineer anymore. He retired.
He
and
was,
now,
though.
And now he makes YouTube videos.
Really?
On,
No.
on what?
On YouTube. It's like
No,
legit.
no, but
No,
what do
yeah,
they
we know
do?
what platform.
I was like,
On traveling,
on
right?
traveling, yeah.
I was
so
gonna
my,
say,
like, yeah,
video
like,
number 10. My son is not a
Yeah.
doctor again.
so it's,
Oh,
it's-
cut it out.
Yeah, no, it's wild. 'Cause, like, I would never, like, one day he texted me and he was like, "Hey, can you like, share, and subscribe my video?" And I was like, "What?" I had to
Please
check-
don't tell me you have an OnlyFans, Dad.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I had to check, and I was like, "This is actually my dad." Even with my mom, I remember.
Do you have a lot of followers?
He has a decent amount. Like, so he does.
He's like, you're not a doctor, so I know you have a lot of time on your hands.
Yes,
Right?
yeah, so you can watch his videos. No,
Right.
he makes travel videos for people from Kerala, where the state that he's from, or where we're from technically. So he makes travel videos for them, and he just like travels around America. He didn't know what the Amish were, so when he was in Pennsylvania, he like ran into Amish people and was amazed. So he spent like literally like a month later, he flew out there for 2 weeks just to go live out there, and took a whole.
That's pretty cool.
Super cool. Does your mom travel with him, or just go by himself?
No, he goes by himself. My mom works at like a daycare, and she just go over travel.
That's gonna be us for sure. It's already me. Like I travel, and Stacy's like, "I'm gonna go travel over here." I was like, "Cool, no problem."
Yeah, so it was weird. Like I remember watching the first video, and it was so weird because I was like,
What's his
wow.
YouTube channel?
My
Drop it.
dad's
Yeah, it's called Amazing America, and I was amazed.
Let's
I'll
do
watch
it.
I was
Yeah.
legit.
I want to go
jaw-
watch your dad with the Amish.
Yeah, it's like jaw dropped, right? Because he was like he would. Like imagine like watching like a influencer on YouTube and it's actually your dad, but he's not an influencer. Right? So he's
Trip.
so he's saying all the things and some pieces, some clips. He has a talking head. He gives them like he loves national parks. So those are the first few places that he visited and explored. So literally, he's like telling us the history about these national parks. He's like, "Oh, Yellowstone National Park was founded in blah 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 blah, and these are the animals that are in Yellowstone." And then there's like pictures of my mom trying to touch a bear or something.
Is he doing all that, like the recording and everything himself?
Yeah, everything himself. Everything himself. He
Dude,
takes a little
that's
drone
cool.
out and stuff like that. And
That's cool.
Yeah, it's it. So and like that's what he does on his free times. Now that he's retired, he's like super artsy and very creative. Even when I was in high school and college, he would be writing plays. He's like well known in some like drama circles in India for writing like plays and stuff like that. So kind of makes sense. Like now that he's not working on the computer, that he's doing what he wants. But
Is that standard for like? And I don't know if this sounds weird, but like, is that standard for the culture? Because like, I always picture Indian families a little bit more not uptight but serious, right? Like, are your parents just a little bit more on the progressive side? Like, are
I
they?
think I Americanized them over the years. Raising me was probably not the easiest thing in the world, right? I mean, I did end up being a doctor or engineer, right? So
Fucking dog trainer.
Yeah, check out YouTube. Look what you could do.
so it was very interesting. Like looking at it now, my parents are always trying to help like the younger generation at our church, and they're like, "You should just do this. Don't worry." Your son's gonna do whatever he's gonna do, things like that, and kind of trying to help him out. And it's funny when I can see the background or like I can see the other side where, they're telling them like don't stress about teaching them all these other things, right? Like that's not super important. But the new parents are just from India. They're like, I know better. This is my first kid, and I know what I'm doing. And then like all my parents, or my parents, and like all my like family friends that I was growing up with, they're all just like, oh, okay, yeah, we've been there, done that. Right?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. So,
Well, you would know. You're the only other parent here. It's like you got to kind of guide them, and then you just kind of let them
Yeah.
Let him be free.
hope for the best.
Yeah, and that's why
It's
you
like
can
what I do with Chuck.
And it's funny. I come from a family of like 6 siblings, and some of my brothers aren't. A couple of my brothers aren't the greatest, and my dad you know, is kind of taking it hard on him. It's like, you guys okay?
What's going on?
You know, my dad was taking it hard on himself a little bit. One of my brothers, you know, just going totally just opposite way. And it's like, hey, at the end of the day, like, we all grew up in the same house. We all grew up with the same parents. Like, can't control your kids at a certain point. Like, don't think
100%.
you did something wrong. Like, all you can do is do what you can do. And at the end of the day, your kid is going to be who your kid sets out to, who he's going to be. If he wants to be a fuck up and do drug, like, he's going to do that. You're not going to stop him. He's going to be good. He's going to do good. As long as you did your job, that's all you can do.
Yeah,
So-
and yeah, so it's
But obviously, they fucked up with you because you didn't become a doctor.
Didn't become a doctor, right? It was, yeah, it's just funny to see because I remember growing up, my parents would get in fights with like the older parents that were there, and they're like, "We know what we're doing," and now I'm literally watching them do it, and it's just those things that I would get in trouble for, right? Like I used to smoke weed in high school, and I remember like I had the same word for word conversation with my mom, but the roles were reversed. So I came home one day, it was like 3 or 4 years ago. I came home and mom was like, "Hey, do you have any weed?" And I was like, "What?"
Wait, your mom?
My mom.
Yeah,
right?
hell yeah.
And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go smoke with my friends." I'm like, "You're not gonna go smoke with your friends."
You said no to your mom?
I said no to my mom. She was like, "I know you have weed," and I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Who told you?
I could get you some.
But I ended up rolling her a joint, and she did go.
So you did have weed.
I did have weed, but it was just so funny, right? It
Yeah.
was just so weird to me. And then even my dad, I remember, he was like one of my little cousins. He wanted to make a YouTube channel. This is back when like YouTube started, and my parents were clowning him. I remember them clowning him super hard. His mom was clowning him. Like we would talk about it for years. And then the first time my little cousin found out my dad had a YouTube channel, he would not stop talking about it. He was like, "Oh yeah, so now let's go watch Amazing America. We can put it on the TV right now, you know."
So funny.
Cool, man. I don't know where Justin went.
There it comes.
You okay?
What are you talking about? Oh,
Oh, yeah.
And there's like 5 kids just like going crazy. I
uh,
walk up to the door, the door's locked, I lock it, and they all look at me and then run inside. And it's like, if anybody didn't know this about me, I don't like children at all.
So we finished off right now, and he rolled his mom a joint when she smoked it.
Yeah.
First, he told his mom, "No, you cannot have any of my weed."
Seriously?
Or no,
Yeah.
no, I don't have any weed. You cannot go smoke
did
weed
not
with your
know that.
friends.
So I was talking about how like the roles reverse, and I'm like, I remember growing up, my mom would tell me like we had a conversation. She's like, "You can't go out," and I'm like, "Why?" She's like, I know you can go smoke with your friends or whatever, something
Oh.
like that. And when like a few years ago, I come home, my mom asked me for a joint, and I told her she can't go smoke with her friends.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so they've been very Americanized. You know, very Americanized. They were
I don't know if I would say just that. Like, I don't know. So my dad, fuck, everybody that knows my dad, like super anti-drug, anti-weed. You know, he was a health teacher. And then later on in his 60s, I got him smoking a little bit of weed too because he has glaucoma and stuff. Like, my dad beat the shit out of me the first tattoo that I ever got. Right. And now I'm covered in tattoos. And now he talks to random people on the street about people with tattoos. Like, as much beef as we have with our parents, or as much as we get along with them, like the ones that can mature like that and be more comfortable around gay people or trans people or tattooed people or gauged ear people, or like these old school boomers. Like, my dad was born in 35. My mom was born in 45. Like, it takes a lot for them to grow out of those ways. And I don't know. I give them a lot of credit because that's a lot. I don't like change, and I'm probably not going to do that shit. But like, they've been good enough to learn and grow with me and grow with the times and go, okay, well, a professional person can be tattooed on their hands. They can have gauged ears. They can smoke weed.
yeah.
Right. Like, so like, I don't know. I think it's really cool I don't even know if it was Americanized. I think it's like more of a tribute to like your parents and being able to grow and mature.
Yeah,
You know, like, it's
yeah.
cool.
And I think it's because they had like it wasn't just raising me, but like when we got here, our church community is very very close knit. So we have one diocese that spans all of Canada and the United States, and it's all like it's an Indian church. So it's very very close knit, and so it wasn't just like they were parents for me, but they were parents for like a ton of children,
Yeah.
a ton of kids, and other parents and their mentors a lot. So I think them just having to be in that role, they kind of like with priests, right? They're not supposed to view everyone as evil. You could tell them all sorts of shady stuff that you
Okay, let's not get into priests. Okay?
right, but
Priest.
but like they're not technically like
Sam loves priests getting into
Yeah, dude.
right, but but they realize that it's not all black and white, right? Like it's not like you're a good kid or you're a bad kid. Like sometimes you're good and sometimes you're bad. So
Sometimes you're a good kid that does bad shit.
yeah.
We're all just
Like
humans.
us. Right.
We all fuck up. We
for
all,
sure.
We're all just nerds.
How we
with a
doing on
marble.
time, Raul?
We're almost getting there.
Are we?
Yeah. Real quick though, what was the first gun you ever owned?
The first gun I owned was MP Shield.
the one that you sold.
The one you
Not
sold?
the one I-
I'm like, that was just
Hey,
that
Dude,
was a
that's
good
how
choice.
we met.
I think
Hey, you stop it.
I forgot. I think it was like the day after I turned 21. I went. There's like a store in San Francisco. I went and I was like, I just need to get a gun.
They sell
Yeah,
guns
gun
in San
stores?
Francisco.
I don't think that store exists anymore. But
I was gonna say.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Was it a gun store? Or was it like a dude that you just bought a gun from?
no, it was an actual gun store. Yeah. So I bought the 9. Because I lived in a pretty shady area, and so it wasn't like I was gonna carry concealed all the time. But if we're gonna go do sketchy shit at 2 a.m., like might as well be safe, right?
What kind of sketchy shit?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that.
Download the pooping app and go find them.
yeah, it's we would do some really sketchy shit, but yeah, so I got the 9.
Shield.
Yeah, it was fun. It shot well. It did the job right. It was easy to conceal and all that stuff. And then it just sat in a safe for like 6 years because I got a rifle and I was like, oh, this is the shit. This is way better. And then after that,
You have a nice Glock, don't you?
oh yeah, then I got the Glock, and I haven't really bought anything else since then.
He just sold ones that he won.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's totally fair.
If he hangs out with us long enough, he'll get more guns.
Yeah.
Just a matter.
Which
of
is
time.
like, I don't know where to put all of them, right? There's only so much room in my safe, and now I need to get a bigger safe, and it's like, oh man.
Oh, your bed like the rest of
Yeah,
us. dude.
I mean, the nightstand, the kitchen cabinet, underneath the mattress.
If 3 guns, you need a more safe. You definitely need a bigger safe.
No, yeah, because so I got it, and it's still the safe I have from college. So it's like this tiny little thing. You can like,
It's like your one that you have in your
Yeah.
office, like
Oh,
the small
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and so like I'm like, and moving from place to place in college, carrying that shit around, I was like, never again, right? Either I need to pay someone to move this stuff, and when I was in college, I was way more broke, so someone's moving it for me, and now I'm just like, yeah, I wonder how much it costs to move like a 500-pound safe. You know what I mean?
It's
I
just
just do it myself.
yeah, it's just whatever
call Sam.
dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I owe him dinner tonight probably or something. He was just helping me move, but you always
Yesterday,
go
yeah.
with a bigger safe.
Yeah.
You know, like because you're always gonna outgrow it.
Cool. So let everybody know where they can reach you at if they want to do some dog training or join your club.
So if you want to join the club, you're gonna hit up Black Sheep PSA. Is there an underscore in that?
Yeah, it's black sheep _ PSA.
Perfect. So on Instagram, a Black Sheep _ PSA. And if you want to get into any kind of dog training for yourself or any of your friends, you can reach me at on Instagram, Golden State Canine, or the goldenstatecanine.com. Just shoot me an email, or there's a contact me box. Give me all your information in there, and I'll see what I can do to help.
Or hit up
Sweet,
Raul and he can push you there or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually about to post a video probably this weekend of when we were at your house and you have to do some training. Time we went over there. So.
We didn't even get on like San Francisco law shit. We didn't talk that much shit on San. Like,
If
I
everyone- everyone
I really
hates it.
want these to go longer, but I know we have to stick to what, an hour and a
Yeah,
half,
I
right?
mean, we're already probably at how long, Kevin?
Hour and a half.
We're at 1:30 and 25 seconds.
An hour and a half.
I just want to keep going.
We're not
We
Joe Rogan
could.
yet.
I mean,
Cause I'm long and I'm strong and I'm down to get the 50.
Yeah. I mean, but obviously you left Frisco.
I'm
for
not
a
50.
reason.
I don't understand your references.
Fuck you. You're fired. sorry to interrupt, bro.
No, but cool, man. Obviously, it's a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Give
Sorry.
me a lot I didn't know a lot about the dog shit. I know I get some from him, but I didn't know a lot of specifics. So it was cool to hear it from someone else other than him all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
in a nicer voice.
it's hard, right? It's hard because
I'm leaving.
Justin's very passionate about it,
Yeah,
and
for
that's
sure,
what-
yeah.
That's the word.
It literally caused him
Intimate,
physical-
very intimate about it.
I could see that my advice for him at the last competition. He probably told you guys about it, when his dog checked out, and wasn't engaged with him, and so my advice was stop training him. And it like literally caused him pain.
It did.
Because it's hard. It's hard. You want to spend a lot of time with the dogs, and it's fun doing it. We get a rush when we're doing it. It's fun for us when they do things right. And yeah, it was a difficult bit of help, right? The help is stop doing stuff, but
Yeah.
it made a huge difference.
For sure.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was definitely a
Thank you for
pleasure.
having me on. It was
Yeah,
fun. It
definitely,
was fun.
dude.
I
Absolutely.
thought Thought I would do way worse, but I think I did okay.
You're pretty good.
A lot of people are nervous. Like it's fun because you know what happens sometimes is people start talking, then they run out of things to say. But you had enough to talk about, and it was perfect, dude. Yeah, it
Plug
was
your
awesome.
personal IG too, because I love all your stories you put up of your personal
Oh,
stuff.
okay, yeah. So my personal IG is ABYN dogs. So it's like M&M's, but AB and dogs.
No close.
Nothing like Eminem.
But that little N in the middle, I took that and I put it in
That
there.
makes it. Yeah,
It's just
AB and
exactly-
dogs. Yeah.
exactly the same. But on my personal one, I post like my personal dogs. Obviously, I post a little bit of the business stuff, but I'm trying to do more. of
Yeah,
the
you got
business stuff.
tugs that are coming out too.
Yeah.
You're sewing now.
Yeah, Justin bought me a sewing machine, so now I'm sewing. I'm on YouTube Academy.
I got a couple of things that need tailored, so we're perfect.
That's
Yeah.
him.
Perfect.
I talked to my dad. He sent me all the right influences. And so I'm making some tugs, making some purpose-made equipment. A lot of the toys that they're out, they're just either they don't exist anymore. Like Justin and I think Justin bought like the entire stock of these
Klein USA,
the Klein USA, and that company doesn't exist anymore. And I started making the toys because I really wanted a Klein tug, and they didn't have any for sale, so I got mad and I made my own.
Right.
And now here I am, 4 years later, making them.
That works.
Getting orders from people in like Canada and
Yeah,
that's
New
cool.
York.
It was-
and stuff,
I didn't
so it's
think
cool.
it was gonna blow up. I made a silly little post on Instagram, and then woke up the next day with 20 orders, and I'm only like, I think a quarter of the way through.
I gotta open the sweatshop.
No, I mean, to be honest, now I'm thinking about it. 'Cause It's
Right.
like it's making them by hand takes forever, and so
Raul's kids are good workers,
Yep.
dude.
Hey.
They do great work.
Hey, those are my fucking orders.
I mean, they can work for you during the day, and they don't need to sleep that much.
My kids are definitely they're money
They're
driven.
grinders, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, cool. Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks, Abby.
you.
Thanks for having me
And,
on.
that's good. That's a
Thank you.
wrap.
Later.
Peace.